I am about to reveal a power so profound it can transform any life, dissolve any conflict, and open any door. A power so ancient it was known to Lincoln, so universal it works in every culture, so simple a child can master it. Yet so few understand its true nature that most men live their entire lives without ever wielding it consciously. This power is not hidden from you. In fact, it surrounds you every moment of every day. It is woven into every conversation, every glance, every gesture between human beings. If you listen not just with your ears, but with your full attention, you will discover it. And once you master it, you will never again wonder why some men command respect while others beg for it, why some people magnetize friendship while others repel it, why some leaders inspire devotion while others breed resentment. But let me warn you. If you hear these words while distracted, if you let them pass through your mind without taking root in your practice, you will miss it entirely. And the price of missing this power is high. I have known men who possessed great intelligence, who walked among the halls of business, who had knowledge enough to teach universities and experience enough to counsel nations. Yet they sat alone in their offices, wondering why no one truly listened to them, why their ideas fell on deaf ears, why their leadership felt hollow. One of them, a brilliant executive, once said to me, "Carnegie, I have all the facts, all the logic, all the reasons. Why does no one follow me?" And I replied, "You do not lack intelligence. You lack connection. You have mastered the art of being right, but you have never learned the art of being heard." The most influential people I have known are not those who speak the loudest, but those who listen the deepest. Not those who demand attention, but those who give it. Not those who prove their superiority, but those who recognize the worth in others. They have discovered a single truth so powerful that all human relations bow to it. In this speech, I will not just tell you what that truth is. I will show you how to live it. But I will not name it outright. Just as I did in How to Win Friends and Influence People, I will weave this power into every principle so that you may feel it, recognize it, earn it. The man who listens with intention will see it. The man who practices it will possess it. And the man who masters it will never lack for friendship, influence, or respect. You will learn why most people fail in human relations. You will learn how to speak so others want to listen. You will learn how to listen so others want to speak. You will learn how to transform criticism into cooperation, worry into confidence, fear into courage. You will learn the single daily practice that makes any person magnetic to others. And more than learning, you will be compelled to apply these principles repeatedly until human connection becomes your natural strength. If you neglect this message, your talents may shine but your influence will dim. You may achieve but never inspire. You may succeed but never truly lead. But if you master this message, if you grasp the hidden thread and hold it tightly, your relationships will deepen, your influence will expand, your leadership will transform from force to attraction. Your success will no longer depend on what you know, but on how well you connect with those who matter. So I ask you now, are you ready to discover the hidden power that governs all human relations? Not by demanding it, but by embodying it? Then let us begin. But listen closely, for the power is hidden and it is yours to find. Part 1, the fatal error that destroys human relations. Most men fail in human relations because they commit one fatal error. They focus on themselves when they should focus on others. They speak when they should listen. They judge when they should understand. They demand when they should appreciate. This error is so common, so natural, so seemingly logical that 90% of people never recognize it. They believe that to be interesting, they must talk about themselves. To be respected, they must prove their worth. To be followed, they must demonstrate their superiority. But here is the truth that will revolutionize your understanding. People are not interested in you. They are interested in themselves. People do not want to hear how great you are. They want to feel how great they are. People do not follow those who tower above them. They follow those who lift them up. I learned this lesson from a man who seemed to possess no special gifts. His name was Jim Farley, and he became one of the most powerful political figures in America, not because he was brilliant, but because he remembered names. Not just names, he remembered what mattered to people. He made every person feel like the most important person in the room. Contrast this with another man I knew, a genius in his field, who could solve problems that baffled others. Yet his meetings were torture. His conversations were monologues. His brilliance was a wall that separated him from others. He died wealthy but friendless, accomplished but alone. The difference between these men was not intelligence. It was understanding. One understood that all human behavior springs from one fundamental desire, the desire to feel important, to feel valued, to feel heard. The other had never learned this truth. Abraham Lincoln understood this power. Even as president, he would spend hours listening to visitors, making each feel that their concerns mattered to him personally. He did not do this because he was weak. He did it because he understood that influence flows not from authority, but from attention. When you make another person feel important, you do not diminish yourself. You multiply your influence. When you listen more than you speak, you do not appear weak. You appear wise. When you seek first to understand rather than to be understood, you do not lose control. You gain cooperation. This is not manipulation. This is recognition of human nature. Every person you meet is carrying an invisible sign that reads, "Make me feel important." The person who learns to read this sign, who responds to this cry, who satisfies this hunger, becomes irresistible in human relations. But most men never see the sign. They are too busy displaying their own. They talk about their achievements while others yearn to share theirs. They offer solutions before understanding problems. They give advice when what people crave is acceptance. Speak this aloud. I seek first to understand, then to be understood. I listen more than I speak. I appreciate more than I judge. Repeat it not as words, but as a new way of being. For when you truly grasp this principle, when you make it the foundation of every interaction, you will discover that people are drawn to you like metal to a magnet. Not because of what you say, but because of how you make them feel. You are not far from influence. It is closer than you think. It does not lie in your words. It lies in your attention, in your interest, in your genuine care for the person standing before you. Part 2, the power of sincere appreciation. Let me tell you of the most neglected power in human relations. It is not praise. It is not flattery. It is sincere appreciation. And the difference between these three will determine whether you inspire loyalty or breed suspicion, whether you multiply friendship or create enemies. Praise focuses on performance. You did a good job. Flattery focuses on ego. You are amazing. But appreciation focuses on impact. What you did made a difference. Praise can be hollow. Flattery can be false. But appreciation, when sincere, touches the soul. I once watched a manager transform a failing department with nothing but sincere appreciation. He did not give raises. He did not threaten consequences. He did not deliver inspiring speeches. He simply found something genuine to appreciate in each person's contribution, and he expressed it specifically, immediately, and personally. Within 60 days, that department went from worst to first. Not because the people became more skilled, but because they became more willing. Appreciation had awakened their desire to contribute, to excel, to prove worthy of the recognition they had received. But here is the key: the appreciation must be sincere. People possess an infallible detector for false praise. They can sense when your words are calculated rather than genuine, when you are manipulating rather than appreciating. And when they detect falseness, they build walls higher than before. Theodore Roosevelt understood this power. He made it his habit to find something genuinely admirable in every person he met. Not to flatter them, but because he trained himself to look for the good. And what you look for, you find. What you find, you can appreciate. What you appreciate, you multiply. Most people starve for appreciation. They go through their days unnoticed, unacknowledged, unappreciated. Their contributions are taken for granted. Their efforts are overlooked. Their value is assumed but never expressed. The person who breaks this pattern, who makes it a daily habit to notice and acknowledge the good in others, becomes a source of light in a dark world. People remember how you made them feel long after they forget what you said. But appreciation must be specific. "You're great" means nothing. The way you handled that difficult customer with patience and creativity while finding a solution that satisfied everyone, that was masterful, that means everything. It shows you were paying attention. It shows you understand their skill. It shows you value their contribution. I knew a woman who transformed her marriage by appreciating her husband's daily efforts that she had taken for granted for 20 years. She thanked him for working to provide. She acknowledged his help with repairs. She expressed gratitude for his patience with the children. The marriage that had been dying of neglect bloomed again under the sunshine of appreciation. Here is your daily practice: find 3 people today to appreciate sincerely. Not for their benefit, but for yours. For as you train your mind to seek the good in others, you will find that others begin to seek the good in you. As you make others feel valued, you become valuable. As you give appreciation, you receive cooperation. But remember, appreciation without action is meaningless. If you see something worth appreciating, express it immediately. Do not wait. Do not hesitate. Do not assume they know. Speak it. Write it. Share it. Make it known. Declare this now: I appreciate sincerely and specifically. I look for the good and acknowledge it. I make others feel valued because they are valuable. Let these words reshape your vision. Let them train your tongue. Let them open your eyes to the contributions that surround you every day, waiting to be noticed, waiting to be appreciated, waiting to multiply under the power of sincere recognition. Part 3. The art of listening that commands respect. Most people do not listen. They wait for their turn to speak. They prepare their response while the other person is still talking. They hear words but miss meaning. They catch facts but lose feelings. And in their failure to truly listen, they forfeit the greatest tool of influence ever discovered. Listening is not passive. True listening is active. It is intense. It is focused. It is the complete and total attention given to another human being. And when you give this gift, something magical happens. The person speaking feels heard, understood, valued. And in feeling these things, they open their heart to you. I learned this from a man who became one of America's greatest trial lawyers, not because he was the most eloquent speaker, but because he was the most attentive listener. In court, he would listen to witnesses with such complete focus that juries would lean forward to watch him listen. His attention was so compelling it drew attention. But more than that, his listening revealed truths that others missed. He heard the fear behind the anger. He caught the doubt beneath the certainty. He sensed the pain that masqueraded as pride. And by hearing what others missed, he could respond to what really mattered. Franklin Roosevelt possessed this power. Visitors would leave his office feeling that the president had given them his complete attention, that their problems had been fully understood, that they had been heard by the most powerful man in the world. They left not just with solutions, but with the feeling that they mattered. True listening requires 3 levels of attention. First, listen to the words. What is being said? Second, listen to the emotions. What is being felt? Third, listen to the meaning. What is really happening here? Most people never progress beyond the first level. They hear words but miss the symphony. Here is the secret: people do not want your advice. They want your attention. They do not need you to solve their problems. They need you to understand their problems. They are not seeking your wisdom. They are seeking your witness. When someone shares a concern with you, your first instinct is to fix it. Resist this urge. Your second instinct is to relate it to your own experience. Resist this too. Your third instinct is to offer encouragement. Even this, resist at first. Instead, reflect what you hear. It sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed by this situation. Mirror the emotion. This is really weighing on you. Ask for deeper understanding. Help me understand what this means to you. Give them the gift of being fully heard before you give them the gift of your response. I watched a father transform his relationship with his teenage son simply by learning to listen without judgment, without immediate solutions, without the need to correct every statement. The son, who had been silent for months, began to open up. Not because his father had changed his rules, but because he had changed his response. Lincoln understood this power. Even in the midst of civil war, he would listen patiently to generals, politicians, and citizens, giving each his complete attention. He once said, "When I am getting ready to reason with a man, I spend 1/3 of my time thinking about myself and what I am going to say, and 2/3 thinking about him and what he is going to say." This is the discipline of influential listening. Think less about your response and more about their reality. Focus less on your point and more on their pain. Concentrate less on being interesting and more on being interested. The person who masters this art becomes magnetic. People seek them out. They are invited to meetings not because they talk the most, but because they listen the best. They are trusted with secrets because they have proven they can hold them safely. They are asked for advice because they have first taken the time to understand. Practice this today. In every conversation, listen twice as much as you speak. Ask questions that help you understand, not questions that help you respond. Give the gift of your complete attention. Make the person speaking feel like the most important person in your world for that moment. Declare this principle: I listen with my whole being. I hear not just words, but hearts. I give my attention as a gift, and in giving it, I receive influence. For the person who truly listens holds a power that no amount of talking can match. They become the confidant, the advisor, the trusted friend. Not because of what they say, but because of how completely they hear. Part 4. Transforming criticism into cooperation. No skill in human relations is more valuable than the ability to correct without creating resentment, to guide without generating resistance, to lead change without losing loyalty. Most people destroy relationships in their attempts to improve them. They criticize when they should encourage. They attack the person when they should address the problem. They create enemies when they could create allies. There is a way to approach any difficult conversation, any necessary correction, any challenging feedback that actually strengthens the relationship rather than straining it. But it requires understanding a fundamental truth about human nature. People will forgive almost any mistake, but they will never forgive being made to feel small. I learned this principle from watching Abraham Lincoln handle his most difficult general, George McClellan. McClellan was cautious to the point of inaction, slow to engage, resistant to orders. Any other president might have dismissed him harshly, publicly humiliated him, made an example of him. Instead, Lincoln wrote him letters that began with genuine appreciation for his organizational skills, acknowledged the difficulty of his position, and then presented the need for more aggressive action as a way to showcase McClellan's abilities. He made change feel like opportunity, correction feel like confidence. The general principle is this: begin with sincere appreciation, address the specific behavior that needs changing, and end with encouragement about the person's ability to improve. But the key word is sincere. People can detect false praise from across a room. Here is the formula that transforms criticism into cooperation: appreciate the person. Address the issue. Affirm their capability. Never attack character. Always focus on conduct. Never make it personal. Always make it specific. Never compare them to others. Always compare them to their own potential. I once watched a sales manager turn around his worst performer using this approach. Instead of saying, "You're not meeting your numbers," he said, "I've noticed your ability to build rapport with clients. They really trust you. I'm wondering if we can explore some ways to help you feel more confident about asking for the close, because I believe you have the potential to be one of our top performers." The salesperson, who had been defensive and discouraged, suddenly became engaged and motivated. Same message. Completely different response. The difference was in the approach. Henry Ford understood this power when dealing with his most challenging executives. He would begin every difficult conversation by acknowledging something they had done well, then frame the needed change as a way to build on that strength. He made people want to improve rather than forcing them to change. But here is the secret within the secret: the most powerful criticism is often the criticism you don't give. Sometimes the best correction is patient encouragement toward the right direction rather than direct confrontation of the wrong one. Theodore Roosevelt mastered this art. When he needed to redirect someone's energy, he would find ways to channel it positively rather than simply stopping it negatively. He understood that human energy cannot be destroyed, only redirected. The leader who learns to redirect rather than resist becomes irresistible. The daily practice is this. Before you correct anyone, ask yourself 3 questions. First, is this about their behavior or my preference? Second, have I given them genuine appreciation recently? Third, how can I frame this correction as an opportunity for them to showcase their strengths? Most criticism fails because it feels like an attack. Effective correction feels like an invitation. It invites the person to become their best self rather than demanding they stop being their worst self. When you must address a problem, use this language: "I've noticed." Instead of "you always." "I'm wondering if." Instead of "you need to." "What do you think about?" Instead of "you should." This language invites cooperation rather than demanding compliance. But remember, the goal is not to avoid difficult conversations. The goal is to make them relationship building rather than relationship breaking. The person who masters this skill can guide anyone toward improvement while making them grateful for the guidance. Practice this declaration: I correct with kindness and clarity. I address issues without attacking identity. I strengthen people while strengthening performance. For the leader who learns to criticize constructively becomes the leader people want to follow, not because they fear his correction, but because they trust his care. Part 5. The daily discipline of genuine interest. The most magnetic quality any person can possess is genuine interest in others. Not pretended interest. Not calculated interest. But authentic curiosity about the people you encounter every day. This interest cannot be faked for long, but it can be developed through daily practice until it becomes your natural response to every human being. Most people are fascinating if you learn to see them correctly. Every person has struggled with something, overcome something, learned something worth knowing. Every person has dreams that drive them, fears that hold them back, experiences that have shaped them. The person who learns to discover these hidden treasures in others becomes rich in friendship and influence. I once knew a janitor who became the most beloved person in a large corporation. Not because of his position, but because of his interest. He knew the names of people's children. He remembered their birthdays. He asked about their hobbies. He celebrated their successes. Executives would seek him out for conversation. He had no formal authority, but tremendous influence, all because he cared about people as people. Benjamin Franklin understood this power. He made it his habit to find something interesting about every person he met. He would ask questions not to be polite, but because he was genuinely curious. And people, feeling this authentic interest, would open their hearts to him. He became one of the most influential men in American history, not through force, but through fascination. Genuine interest has 3 characteristics. First, it focuses on them, not you. You ask about their experiences, their thoughts, their feelings. You resist the urge to relate everything back to your own life. Second, it goes beneath the surface. You don't just ask about the weather. You ask about what matters to them. Third, it remembers. You follow up on things they've shared. You show that their words took root in your mind. The practice begins with a simple decision. In every interaction today, I will learn something new about the person I'm speaking with. Not their job title. Not their role. Something personal. Something that matters to them. Something that helps me see them as a complete human being rather than just a function. Here are the questions that unlock hearts. What's the best part of your day? What are you most excited about right now? What's something you've learned recently that surprised you? What's a challenge you're working through? These questions invite people to share what's real, what's current, what's meaningful. But remember, ask only if you truly want to know. People can sense whether your interest is genuine or performed. Genuine interest comes from understanding this truth. Every person you meet knows something you don't know, has experienced something you haven't experienced, sees the world from an angle you've never considered. I watched a shy accountant transform into a powerful networker simply by becoming genuinely curious about people's stories. He stopped trying to impress others with his expertise and started being impressed by their experiences. People began seeking him out, not because he was the most knowledgeable person in the room, but because he made them feel like they were. Franklin Roosevelt possessed this quality. Visitors would leave the White House amazed not just by meeting the president, but by how interested the president had seemed in meeting them. He asked questions that showed he had been listening to their concerns, remembering their backgrounds, caring about their lives. The discipline is this: before every meeting, every conversation, every interaction, ask yourself, what can I learn about this person? What interests them? What challenges them? What excites them? Then listen for the answers. Not to use the information, but to understand the person. This interest must be balanced with respect. Genuine interest honors people's privacy. It doesn't pry. It doesn't push. It invites sharing but doesn't demand it. It creates a safe space for people to open up, but doesn't force them to fill it. The transformation this brings is remarkable. When you become genuinely interested in others, they become genuinely interested in you. When you make them feel fascinating, they find you fascinating. When you give the gift of attention, you receive the gift of affection. Declare this daily: I am genuinely interested in every person I meet. I listen for their stories. I honor their experiences. I learn from their wisdom. Practice this until it becomes instinct. Until your first thought upon meeting someone is not "what can they do for me?" but "what can I discover about them?" For the person who masters genuine interest discovers that the world is full of allies waiting to be found, friends waiting to be made, wisdom waiting to be shared. Part 6. The courage to overcome worry and fear. Worry is the enemy of influence. Fear is the destroyer of connection. The person who carries anxiety into every interaction, who approaches relationships from a place of insecurity, who worries constantly about what others think, cannot fully engage with the power of human connection. They are too focused on protecting themselves to focus on serving others. But courage can be built. Confidence can be developed. The habit of worry can be broken and replaced with the habit of faith. Not religious faith necessarily, but faith in your ability to handle whatever situations arise, faith in the goodness of most people, faith in the power of genuine human connection. I learned this from watching Franklin Roosevelt overcome not just physical paralysis, but the fear of public exposure that could have ended his political career. He could have hidden his condition, avoided public appearances, led from behind closed doors. Instead, he chose to face his fear directly. He appeared in public. He spoke to crowds. He connected with people face to face. His courage in facing his own limitations became the source of his strength in leading others through theirs. Worry about what others think will paralyze your ability to connect authentically. If you are constantly calculating how you appear, you cannot give your full attention to how others feel. If you are always managing your image, you cannot manage genuine relationships. The antidote to social fear is this understanding: most people are not thinking about you as much as you think they are. They are thinking about themselves. They are wondering what you think of them. They are managing their own insecurities, fighting their own fears, protecting their own vulnerabilities. When you understand this, you realize that the best way to put others at ease is to be at ease yourself. The best way to make others comfortable is to be comfortable with who you are. The best way to build others' confidence is to demonstrate your own. Theodore Roosevelt embodied this principle. He faced his fears directly, whether physical danger in battle or political opposition in leadership. His courage was contagious. People felt braver in his presence because he had conquered cowardice in himself. Here is the daily practice for building social courage. Each day, do one thing that requires you to move beyond your comfort zone in human relations. Start a conversation with a stranger. Give a compliment to someone you find intimidating. Share an opinion in a meeting where you usually stay silent. Ask for help when you typically struggle alone. These small acts of courage compound. Each one builds your confidence muscle. Each one proves to yourself that you can handle discomfort. Each one expands your capacity for authentic connection. But the deepest source of social confidence comes from this realization: you have something valuable to offer every person you meet. It might be your attention, your appreciation, your understanding, your encouragement, your perspective, your experience. When you approach others from abundance rather than scarcity, from contribution rather than need, fear fades and confidence flows. Abraham Lincoln struggled with deep melancholy throughout his life, yet he became one of history's most inspiring leaders. How? He learned to focus on serving others rather than protecting himself. He discovered that the best way to escape your own problems is to help others solve theirs. The best way to overcome your own fears is to give others courage. The worry habit can be broken with this simple substitution. Every time you catch yourself worrying about what others think of you, redirect that energy toward thinking about them. What are they feeling? What do they need? How can you help them feel more comfortable, more valued, more understood? This shift from self-focus to other focus is not just a technique. It is a transformation. It changes you from someone who needs reassurance to someone who gives it. From someone who drains energy to someone who energizes others. From someone who seeks connection to someone who creates it. Practice this affirmation: I am confident because I am focused on serving, not on appearing. I overcome fear by giving courage to others. I build my confidence by building others up. Remember, courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in the presence of fear. The person who waits to feel confident before connecting with others will wait forever. The person who connects despite their fears discovers that courage grows through use, that confidence comes through practice, that the very act of focusing on others dissolves self-consciousness. For when you are genuinely engaged in making others feel valued, you stop worrying about whether you are valued. When you are focused on understanding others, you stop fearing being misunderstood. When you are committed to serving others, you stop being concerned about being served. Part 7, The Power of Encouragement and Inspiration. The person who learns to inspire others becomes irresistible. Not through manipulation, not through false promises, but through the genuine ability to help people see their own potential, believe in their own capabilities, and take action toward their own dreams. This is perhaps the highest form of human influence. Most people live below their potential because no one has ever helped them see what they could become. They settle for less because they've never been encouraged to reach for more. They remain stuck because they've never had someone believe in their ability to change, to grow, to overcome. You have the power to be that someone. You have the ability to speak words that unlock potential, to give encouragement that unleashes energy, to offer support that transforms lives. But this power must be used wisely, genuinely, and specifically. I once watched a teacher take a class of struggling students and transform them into achievers, not by lowering standards, but by raising expectations. She did not tell them they were already good enough. She told them they were capable of becoming better. She did not praise their current performance. She praised their potential for improvement. She did not accept their excuses. She expressed confidence in their ability to overcome obstacles. The difference between encouragement and false praise is this: false praise focuses on current reality. You're already great. Encouragement focuses on future possibility. You have the ability to become great. False praise creates complacency. Encouragement creates motivation. Abraham Lincoln mastered this art. His ability to inspire others came not from telling them they were already perfect, but from helping them see they were capable of perfection. He challenged people to rise to their highest selves. He believed in their better angels and spoke to those angels consistently. Here is the formula for genuine encouragement: see the potential. Speak to the potential. Support the journey toward the potential. Never lie about current reality, but always point toward future possibility. Never ignore present weaknesses, but always emphasize future strengths. The language of inspiration is specific. I've noticed your ability to. I believe you have the talent to. I can see you developing. With your skills, you could. This language plants seeds of possibility in the mind of the listener. But encouragement without action is empty. True inspiration provides not just vision, but support for the journey toward that vision. It offers help, resources, opportunities, guidance. It doesn't just say you can do it. It asks, how can I help you do it? Henry Ford understood this power. He didn't just hire people. He inspired them to see themselves as capable of more than they had ever imagined. He helped them envision not just jobs, but careers. Not just work, but contribution. Not just employment, but achievement. The daily practice is this: look for potential in every person you encounter. Ask yourself, what is this person capable of that they might not see in themselves? Then find a way to reflect that potential back to them. Not as flattery, but as genuine observation. Sometimes the most powerful encouragement is simply believing in someone when they don't believe in themselves. Your confidence in their ability becomes the bridge they cross from doubt to determination, from fear to action, from settling to striving. But remember, only encourage what you genuinely see. False encouragement is worse than no encouragement because it breaks trust. People can sense when your words are calculated rather than authentic. Genuine encouragement comes from really seeing people, really understanding their capabilities, really believing in their potential. Theodore Roosevelt possessed this gift. People left conversations with him feeling capable of more than they had felt capable of before. Not because he lied to them about their abilities, but because he helped them see abilities they had not recognized in themselves. The transformation this brings is profound. When you help others believe in themselves, they begin to act with greater confidence. When you support their growth, they become more willing to take risks. When you inspire their potential, they start working to fulfill it. And here is the beautiful reciprocity. As you inspire others to become their best selves, you inspire yourself to become yours. As you encourage others to reach higher, you create a culture of excellence around yourself. As you lift others up, you rise with them. Declare this principle: I see potential in every person I meet. I speak to their possibilities. I support their growth. I inspire action through genuine belief. For the person who masters the art of encouragement becomes a creator of greatness in others, and in creating greatness, discovers it multiplied in their own life. Part 8. The Daily System of Human Connection. Influence is not accidental. Connection is not coincidental. The ability to win friends and inspire others is not a matter of personality or luck. It is the result of daily disciplines practiced consistently until they become natural responses to every human encounter. You have learned the principles. Now you must build the system. You must create the daily habits that will transform these ideas from inspiration into instinct, from knowledge into character, from understanding into automatic behavior. The person who experiences rich relationships, who commands respect without demanding it, who influences others while serving them, is not different from you by nature. They are different from you by practice. They have built habits that create connection. They have developed reflexes that build rapport. They have trained themselves to respond to others in ways that multiply friendship and influence. Here is your daily system for human connection mastery. Morning preparation. Before you encounter any person today, remind yourself of your purpose: to make every person you meet feel valued, understood, and appreciated. Set your intention not to impress, but to serve. Not to get, but to give. Not to prove your worth, but to recognize the worth of others. The first encounter principle. In every first interaction of the day, give someone your complete attention. Listen fully. Ask genuine questions. Show authentic interest. Make them feel like the most important person in your world for that moment. This sets the tone for your entire day. The appreciation practice. Find 3 different people today to appreciate sincerely and specifically. Not general praise, but particular recognition of their contributions, their character, their efforts. Express this appreciation immediately, directly, and personally. The service question: in every conversation, ask yourself silently, how can I help this person feel more confident, more valued, more understood? Then act on the answer. Sometimes it's through listening. Sometimes through encouragement. Sometimes through practical help. The Courage Challenge: each day, do one thing that requires social courage. Start a difficult conversation with kindness. Give feedback with care. Express appreciation to someone who intimidates you. Ask for help when you typically struggle alone. The learning commitment: in every interaction, learn something new about the person you're speaking with. Ask questions that go beneath the surface. Remember what they share. Follow up on what matters to them. Treat every person as a teacher who can expand your understanding of human nature. Evening reflection: before you rest, review your day. Where did you connect genuinely? Where did you miss opportunities? Where did you serve others well? Where could you improve? What did you learn about human nature? How will you apply these lessons tomorrow? This system is not complex, but it is comprehensive. It covers the full range of human interaction: listening, appreciating, encouraging, serving, learning, growing. It transforms you from someone who happens to have good relationships into someone who systematically creates them. The law of cosmic habit force ensures that whatever you repeat becomes automatic. If you repeat these practices daily, it will become your natural response to others. If you practice them faithfully, it will transform not just your relationships, but your character. But beware, neglect these practices and you will drift back to self-focus, to worry about impression rather than impact, to seeking from others rather than serving them. The habits of connection must be maintained or they will be lost. Abraham Lincoln practiced these principles unconsciously. His daily discipline of genuine interest in others, sincere appreciation for their contributions, and patient listening to their concerns made him irresistible as a leader. People trusted him not because of his position, but because of his practice. You must never forget, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships. And the quality of your relationships is determined by the quality of your daily practices in human connection. Say this now: each day I practice genuine connection. I listen deeply, appreciate sincerely, encourage specifically, and serve consistently. These practices become my identity. Let this be your daily vow. Let this be your new constitution for human relations. Let no day pass without applying these principles. For in their practice lies the secret that men have sought for centuries, the secret of winning friends and influencing people through genuine care for their welfare. Part 9, The Hidden Law of Emotional Contagion. There exists a law as reliable as gravity in the realm of human relations. Whatever emotion you consistently bring to others, you will receive back multiplied. Whatever energy you radiate, you will attract in return. Whatever spirit you embody, you will encounter reflected in the faces and actions of those around you. This is not mysticism. This is psychology. This is the law of emotional contagion, and it governs every human interaction whether you are conscious of it or not. The person who understands this law and applies it deliberately becomes a force of positive influence wherever they go. I have seen men enter rooms and immediately lift the energy of everyone present. Not through their words, but through their presence. Not through their achievements, but through their attitude. They carried enthusiasm, and enthusiasm spread. They brought confidence, and confidence multiplied. They radiated appreciation, and appreciation returned to them from every direction. Contrast this with others who could drain the life from any gathering. They carried complaint, and complaint echoed back to them. They brought cynicism, and cynicism surrounded them. They radiated negativity, and the world reflected their darkness back upon them. Franklin Roosevelt understood this law perfectly. Even from a wheelchair, even during the darkest days of the Depression and World War, he brought such optimism and confidence to every encounter that people left his presence feeling that any problem could be solved, any challenge could be overcome. His emotional state became the emotional state of the nation. The principle is simple but profound. You cannot give what you do not possess. If you want others to be enthusiastic about your ideas, you must first be enthusiastic about them yourself. If you want others to have confidence in your leadership, you must first have confidence in your own capabilities. If you want others to appreciate your contributions, you must first demonstrate appreciation for theirs. But here's where most people fail. They wait for others to bring positive energy before they contribute their own. They withhold enthusiasm until they see it reflected. They guard their appreciation until they feel appreciated. They hold back their confidence until others show confidence in them. This is backwards thinking. The leader, the influencer, the person who commands respect and creates connection, goes first. They bring the energy they want to receive. They demonstrate the attitude they want to encounter. They become the source rather than waiting to be the recipient. Abraham Lincoln embodied this principle even in the face of tremendous opposition and criticism. He brought patience to interactions with impatient generals. He showed respect to those who disrespected him. He demonstrated faith when others expressed doubt. And gradually, his emotional consistency transformed the character of his entire administration. The daily practice is this: before every interaction, check your emotional state. What energy are you bringing? What attitude are you carrying? What spirit are you radiating? If it is not what you want to receive, change it before you engage. This requires discipline. It means choosing enthusiasm when you feel tired. It means bringing patience when you feel rushed. It means showing appreciation when you feel unappreciated. It means radiating confidence when you feel uncertain. But here is the reward: as you consistently bring positive emotions to others, you will find those emotions becoming more natural to you. As you practice enthusiasm, you will become more enthusiastic. As you demonstrate confidence, you will develop greater confidence. As you show appreciation, you will feel more appreciative. The law works both ways. You influence others, and in influencing them, you influence yourself. You change the emotional climate around you, and that climate changes you in return. Henry Ford discovered this principle in his factories. When he brought positive energy to his interactions with workers, when he showed genuine interest in their welfare, when he demonstrated confidence in their abilities, the entire atmosphere of his plants transformed. Productivity increased not because of new systems, but because of new spirit. Theodore Roosevelt made this his signature strength. He brought such infectious energy to every gathering that people would compete for the chance to be in his presence. His enthusiasm was so genuine and so consistent that it awakened enthusiasm in others. His confidence was so contagious that it spread to everyone around him. The transformation this brings is remarkable. When you become a consistent source of positive energy, people begin to associate that energy with you. They seek you out when they need encouragement. They invite you to gatherings because you make them better. They trust you with responsibilities because your presence improves performance. But remember, this energy must be genuine. False enthusiasm is detected immediately and creates the opposite effect. Authentic positive energy comes from understanding this truth: Every person you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Your positive energy might be the only bright spot in their day. Declare this principle: I am the source of positive energy in every interaction. I bring enthusiasm, confidence, and appreciation. I radiate the emotions I want to receive. Practice this until it becomes automatic. Until your natural response to any person is to lift their spirits rather than burden them with your problems. Until your presence becomes a gift that people treasure rather than a weight they endure. For the person who masters emotional contagion becomes a creator of positive environments, a builder of team spirit, a source of inspiration that multiplies wherever it flows. Part 10, The Ultimate Secret of Influence. Now I reveal to you the secret that has been woven through every principle, embedded in every practice, hidden in every story. The ultimate secret of influence is this: make others feel genuinely important, and they will move mountains for you. Not because you manipulate them, but because you recognize what is already true about them. Every human being carries within themselves an invisible sign that reads, "Make me feel important." The person who learns to read this sign and respond to it authentically will never lack for friendship, cooperation, or support. They will discover that influence flows not from force, but from recognition. Not from power, but from respect. Not from authority, but from appreciation. This importance must be genuine. People possess an infallible detector for false regard. They can sense immediately whether your attention is calculated or authentic, whether your interest is strategic or sincere. When they detect manipulation, they build walls. When they sense genuine regard, they open doors. I learned this secret by watching the most influential people of my time. They all shared one characteristic: they made every person they encountered feel valuable. Not through empty flattery, but through genuine attention to what made that person unique, important, worthy of respect. Abraham Lincoln possessed this gift supremely. A farmer who met him once said, "He talked to me like I was the most important person in the world." A general reported, "He listened to my concerns as if the fate of the nation depended on understanding them." A child remembered, "He spoke to me like I was a grown-up who had something important to say." This was not acting. This was Lincoln's genuine belief that every person had value, every perspective had merit, every individual had something to contribute. And because he believed it, others felt it. And feeling it, they responded with loyalty, effort, and devotion that no amount of force could have commanded. The practice of making others feel important has specific techniques. Remember and use their name. A person's name is the sweetest sound in any language to them. Use it naturally in conversation. Write it correctly in correspondence. Associate it with something meaningful about them. Listen to what they say as if it matters deeply to you. Not polite listening, but engaged listening. Ask follow-up questions. Seek to understand their perspective. Show that their thoughts have influenced your thinking. Ask for their opinion on matters within their expertise. People want to share what they know. They want their experience to be valued. They want to contribute their knowledge to solutions. Acknowledge their contribution specifically. Not general thanks, but particular appreciation for what they uniquely brought to a situation. Make them see how their efforts made a difference. Show interest in what interests them. Ask about their hobbies, their passions, their projects. Remember what they tell you. Follow up on what matters to them. But here's the deepest secret: the best way to make others feel important is to genuinely believe they are important. This is not a technique you can fake. It is a perspective you must develop. It requires training yourself to see the value in every person, to find something admirable in every character, to discover something interesting in every individual. Franklin Roosevelt developed this perspective through conscious practice. He made it his discipline to find something genuinely valuable in every person he met. And what you look for, you find. What you find, you can appreciate. What you appreciate, you multiply. The person who makes others feel important becomes important to them. They seek your advice because you have shown respect for their judgment. They support your initiatives because you have supported their significance. They follow your leadership because you have acknowledged their worth. This is not manipulation because the importance you recognize is real. Every person does have unique value. Every individual does bring something special to the world. Every human being does deserve respect and recognition. You are not creating false importance. You are revealing true importance that others have missed. Theodore Roosevelt exemplified this principle in his leadership. He made every person he worked with feel that their contribution was essential to the success of the whole. He gave them responsibility that matched their capabilities. He recognized their achievements publicly. He made them feel that they were indispensable to him, and feeling that, they became willing to do anything for him. The transformation this brings is profound. When you make others feel important, you create a network of people who are invested in your success. When you acknowledge their value, they become protective of your reputation. When you recognize their worth, they become committed to proving that recognition was justified. But the deepest transformation is in yourself. As you train yourself to see the importance in others, you develop humility about your own importance. As you acknowledge the contributions of others, you become more generous with credit. As you recognize the worth of others, you become more worthy yourself. Declare this ultimate principle: I make every person feel important because they are important. I see their value, acknowledge their worth, and recognize their contributions. In lifting them up, I am lifted up. This is the secret that governs all human relations. This is the power that creates lasting influence. This is the key that unlocks cooperation, friendship, and loyalty. Not through force, but through recognition. Not through manipulation, but through appreciation. Not through power, but through understanding the power that already exists in every human heart. Conclusion: your new identity as a master of human relations. You now possess the knowledge that has transformed ordinary men into extraordinary leaders. You understand the principles that govern all human interaction. You have learned the practices that create lasting influence. But knowledge without application is merely entertainment. Principles without practice are simply philosophy. The question now is not whether these ideas work. They have been proven in the lives of Lincoln, Roosevelt, Ford, and countless others who have applied them faithfully. The question is whether you will work them. Whether you will make them part of your daily discipline. Whether you will transform from someone who knows about human relations to someone who masters them. This transformation requires more than understanding. It requires identity change. You must stop seeing yourself as someone who struggles with relationships and start seeing yourself as someone who excels at them. You must stop thinking of influence as something others possess and start recognizing it as something you can develop. Your new identity declarations are these. I master my fears and confidently express my ideas. Fear no longer controls your interactions. You speak with courage because you focus on serving others rather than protecting yourself. I listen deeply and understand others with empathy. You have become genuinely interested in people. You hear not just their words but their hearts. You understand their perspectives even when you disagree with their positions. My words build bridges, not walls. You have learned to speak in ways that connect rather than separate, that invite rather than exclude, that encourage rather than discourage. I inspire action through genuine appreciation. You have developed the ability to see the good in others and acknowledge it specifically. Your appreciation multiplies the behaviors you want to see. I live in the present, free from worry. You no longer waste energy on anxiety about what others think. You focus on what others need. You live with confidence in your ability to handle any situation that arises. These are not mere affirmations. They are descriptions of who you are becoming through daily practice of the principles you have learned. They are prophecies of your future self that become reality through present action. The historical examples that inspire these principles continue to inspire today. Abraham Lincoln remains the model of empathetic leadership. His ability to understand and connect with all types of people, from generals to farmers, from politicians to children, shows the universal power of genuine human interest. Theodore Roosevelt exemplifies infectious enthusiasm and confidence. His energy was so authentic and so positive that it transformed everyone around him. He shows us that leadership is not about position but about the energy you bring to every interaction. Franklin D. Roosevelt demonstrates that charisma is not inborn but developed. His ability to connect with millions through radio, to inspire confidence during crisis, to make every person feel heard and valued, proves that these skills can be mastered by anyone willing to practice them. Henry Ford shows the practical application of these principles in business. His success came not just from mechanical innovation but from his ability to inspire workers, to create loyalty, to build teams that achieved what seemed impossible. But the most important example is the average person who applies these principles faithfully. The manager who transforms a struggling team through appreciation. The parent who connects deeply with their children through listening. The salesperson who builds lasting relationships through genuine interest. The leader who creates loyalty through service. You are now equipped to become such an example. You have the knowledge. You have the principles. You have the practices. What you need now is the commitment to apply them daily until they become your natural response to every human encounter. The world needs people who can build bridges in a time of division. Who can create connection in an age of isolation? Who can inspire cooperation in an era of conflict? You can become one of these people. Not through accident, but through application. Not through luck, but through discipline. Not through talent, but through practice. Your journey begins today with a single decision. Will you make human connection a priority? Will you invest in relationships as carefully as you invest in any other aspect of your success? Will you practice these principles until they become part of who you are? If your answer is yes, then speak this final declaration with conviction. I am a master of human relations. I win friends through genuine care for their welfare. I influence people through sincere appreciation of their worth. I create connections that enrich every life I touch. I build relationships that multiply my ability to serve and to succeed. This is not what I hope to become. This is who I am choosing to be, starting now. Let these words echo in your mind. Let them reshape your intentions. Let them guide your actions. Let them transform your relationships. Let them become the foundation of a life filled with meaningful connection, powerful influence, and the deep satisfaction that comes from helping others feel genuinely important. The secret is no longer hidden. The power is now in your hands. The choice is entirely yours. Choose to become the person others seek out because you make them feel valued. Choose to become the leader others follow because you lift them up. Choose to become the friend others treasure because you treasure them first. This is your moment. This is your opportunity. This is your calling to become not just successful, but significant in the lives of every person you encounter. The world is waiting for who you will become when you master the greatest power on earth, the power of genuine human connection.